Thank you for tuning into Prayer Time in My Closet with Sepsimone. Today we have another special guest. Angelica, would you like to say hi?
Hi, to everyone out there.
And we'll be asking her a few questions to just give you some insight on different people's views of how their Christian walk has been. Now we know that each person comes to Christ at a different time, different age, some adults, some teenagers, and some, the little bitty ones. Angelica, can you share with us how old you were when you came to know Christ for yourself?
I was very young, actually. I grew up in church. I think I was about 3 years old when I first came to a church.
Oh, wow.
Now, to actually know and accept Jesus, who he was, it wasn't until the age of 18. So it was a long period of me being in church, listening to the word. But I didn't really understand it until I got to be a little bit more older and started realizing that I needed to change a lot of things in my life. So it happened about 18 years old when I fully, dedicated my life to Christ.
Okay. And did you feel, you said you started church at 3 and then not until 18.
Yeah.
But during that time, did you somewhat feel pressured, or did you feel God tugging on you to come to know him?
It was a little bit of both. Sometimes I did feel pressured, from a lot of people, but I wanted to do it myself. Like, I knew that if I wanted to come to God, I wanted to do it for me, because that's one thing I did learn through the time that I was in church, and I really wasn't, given myself to him. I did learn a lot of things, and one of the things that I did learn was if you come to Christ, you have to come fully there, prepared.
Yes.
So yeah, and then I wanted to come fully there towards him, but it wasn't so much of being pressured that brought me to him. It was more, of him tugging every time, People would come and pray for me, and I would just feel that tug, and he was like, I'm here, So I finally just was like, okay, I give up, I give in. So yeah, it was kind of that kind of a moment.
Okay. And then at that time when you accepted Christ, that you said at the age of 18, who would you say, maybe a minister, Sunday school teacher, or maybe even a relative, who would you say was there to help mentor you and to kind of guide you along the way?
I would say my youth pastors back then when I was in the youth group, their names were Tony and Paulina Redondo. They came into Christ, they came knowing Christ, maybe about a year or two in the ministry, and they wanted to help out the youth group. And we had a lot of youth leaders come and go. We saw that, so there wasn't a lot of commitment. So when I saw them actually there wanting to work with us and learn, I was just like, whoa, it kind of was a slap in the face for me, because I had been there for years and I hadn't done half of the things that they did.
Okay.
So they really guided me, and they really pushed me to the limit. They knew what I could do and what I was capable of doing. So I could say they were the ones to mentor me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear that, because a lot of times, we can say, oh, I had a Sunday school teacher, she taught me the Bible verses. Or sometimes, some people I've interviewed, they said that it was their parents.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome to hear. Now, we know that some days, every day isn't peaches and cream. A lot of people think that when you come to Christ, that every day from there on out is just right. It's just all glory. But what would you say that song or that scripture would be, that when you are feeling a little gloomy or a little down, that that you can say or that you can go to, and you'll be immediately lifted up?
I'm a big I'm just a big fan. I love gospel music. Oh my gosh. I believe one of the first CDs that I got when I was younger was a Whoa 1998 CD. And it had like Kurt Franklin, and it had all these like big gospel church choirs, the Tabernacle. And I would just listen to that all the time. But right now, my favorite gospel singer would be Tasha Cobbs. She's just like very, very amazing. You could just hear her just, leading you to the presence of the Lord. You can't just listen to her song and not be in tears at the end, and wanting to be like, yes, Lord, yes, break those chains, it just doesn't happen with her. And
right.
I like it. That's one of the songs that I know that if I'm having a hard time or a hard day, that I could just listen to, and I could be like, yes, Lord, I need you. I love you. Just, I want to be in your presence.
Yes. And also for someone that might be watching right now, that they have accepted Christ into their life, but it's not really going that well for them. They find themselves always crying. They find themselves always down. or feeling low and just ready to throw in the towel and say, you know what, this Christian thing is not really all that it's cracked up to be. I'm ready to give up or give in. What word or scripture or encouragement do you think that you could leave with them that would help them to just hang in there just a little bit longer?
I would say stay strong. The Lord is very faithful when it comes to His promises and His love towards you. I can't stress it enough how many times I've wanted to give in and just throw in the towel and be like, you know what, this is too hard, this is complicated, I would just be better off just being, on my own, alone, doing my own thing, than having to deal with all these things. But I know that at the end of that road, and when I finally got over that challenge and I got over that difficulty, I realized that I grew a lot, and I grew closer not only to the things there, but I grew closer to God, and I was leading, He was pushing me towards what I need to be and who I need to become, towards Him. I would say stay strong. Keep, staying in there. Yes, read your scripture. Yes, and read your word. Feed off of it. But have a relationship with Him. I tell people all the time, you don't know someone until you have, you sit down with them and you have a meal. You see that they don't like certain things. You see they don't like vegetables, or, they put this into the side, and Jesus is the same way. You got to be able to sit down. You can know a lot of things about Him, but you have to sit down with Him and have that meal and actually know Him and, recognizing His voice when He speaks to you.
Yes.
Because that would help you a lot. I can't tell you how many times people have come and just, bash you or put you down or tell you things about yourself. But then, you hear God telling you, that's not true. You are my daughter, you are my son, and I have called you for things, and I have made you for greater things. Because, you get that a lot everywhere, and sometimes the problems are big, financially, school, sometimes they seem overwhelming, like you just can't do it or you just can't continue. But I push harder, do it. If you're gonna be all in, be all in.
Right.
Don't finish halfway.
Right. So I want to go back. You said something. So would you said that there were times when you wanted to give up, but you noticed that when you kept going, that it made you stronger and closer to Him. So would you say that trials are here to make us stronger?
I will say so, yes. What is it, if you don't have that? What kind of relationship would you have? I just recently got married, and, we, find ways of here and there. We have to have some type of conflict. We have to butt heads, It's not always like, yeah, you can have your way, whatever you say here.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. We would never know so much deep parts of each other if we never talked about those things,
Right.
So I would do the same thing for Christ. You would never know how far you're going to go if you don't have those trials.
Yeah.
You would have never known that you can do that you can overcome that if you never had that in front of you.
Yes.
I can't say, for everybody that their problems are easy, because no, some things are hard,
Right.
You go through so many things, but you can do it. You can
Yes.
get through it. A lot of other people out there are in the same struggle with you, and the Lord is lifting them up, and He can lift you up also.
Yes. You minister to me right now. You don't even know it, but you were speaking directly to me. Okay, I'm going to hold on. Thank you so much for stopping by to Prayer Time in My Closet with Sepsimone. I was truly blessed, and I pray that you were blessed also.
Yes.
And don't forget to tune in next week for our next segment.